All right, today we are diving headfirst into one of philosophy's most wild, most poetic, and honestly, most challenging works, Friedrich Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra. We're going to trace the epic journey he lays out from a world that's just a little too comfortable, all the way to the birth of something entirely new. So the book kicks off not with some stuffy argument, but with a prophet, right? His name is Zarathustra. And after spending 10 years all alone on a mountain, he's not just wise, he is literally overflowing with it. His wisdom has become this heavy, golden burden, and he just has this desperate need to come down and share it. And this really is the whole setup for the book. You gotta understand, this isn't just a collection of abstract thoughts. It's a drama. It's a story. Nietzsche is framing his entire philosophy as this journey of a teacher coming down to a world that might not be ready or even want to hear what he has to say. He has this amazing metaphor for it. He sees himself like the sun. The sun is so full of light that it has to set. It has to go down and give its light to the world below. He calls this his downgoing. It's this necessary sacrifice, this act of emptying himself out, just to share the wisdom that's become too much for any one person to carry alone. But here's the twist. When Zarathustra gets down to the town square, he doesn't find a crowd of eager students waiting for him. Nope. Instead, he finds humanity at this terrifying dead end, a world that has become dangerously happy with being mediocre. This is where he encounters what he calls the last man. And let me tell you, this is Nietzsche's absolute nightmare vision for humanity. It's a society that has traded every last drop of greatness for simple comfort and security. The last man can't even wrap his head around big ideas like creation or longing. You say these things to him and he just blinks. There's nothing there. In the world of the last man, happiness is a small, lukewarm thing. They're so proud of it. We have discovered happiness, they say. But it's a happiness with zero risk, zero challenge. They've made everything, including themselves, tiny and manageable. And here's the really scary part. The last man lives the longest precisely because he's the most cautious. His species becomes as hard to get rid of as fleas. So as a direct answer to this comfortable decay, Zarathustra presents his central and probably his most misunderstood idea, a vision for what humanity could be if it just dared to overcome itself. He calls this the Superman, or in the German, the Übermensch. Now, it is so important to get this right. This is not about a master race or having power over other people. Not at all. It's about power over yourself. It's an individual who looks at ready-made morality and says, no thank you, and creates their own values from the ground up. It's about saying a huge yes to all of life. Just look at this contrast. It couldn't be more clear. On one side, you've got the last man. He's the end of the line, right? The final pathetic whimper of human potential. But on the other side, you have the Superman, who's like an arrow of longing for the other shore. This is the person who uses the chaos inside themselves to give birth to a dancing star. It's the difference between just existing and actually creating. Okay, so how in the world do you bridge that gap? How do you get from the last man to the Superman? Well, for Zarathustra, it all starts with an act of destruction. You've got to break some stuff first. Zarathustra calls for a transvaluation of all values. It's a fancy phrase, but it just means we need to completely rethink what we call good and evil. And his new guiding principle is simple. Anything that comes from a place of power is good. Anything that comes from weakness is bad. And to be crystal clear, he's not talking about physical strength. He means strength of will, the strength of the spirit. This means we have to start questioning the very virtues that our society tells us are good. Things like pity, which he says just keeps weak people weak. Or herd morality, doing things because it's safe and everyone else is doing it. Or even the state, which he calls the coldest of all cold monsters. From his point of view, these things are all designed to stamp out greatness and promote conformity. And what's the engine driving this whole reevaluation? It's what Nietzsche calls the will to power. Again, let's be careful here. This is not about dominating other people. It's the fundamental drive inside every living thing to grow, to expand, to become more than it is. It's the will to master yourself. But here's the thing. This path to becoming the Superman, it isn't some social program or a political movement you can join. No, it is a deeply personal, solitary, and often painful journey of constantly creating and recreating yourself. To become a creator, you first have to be a destroyer. You have to be willing to go down, to let your old self and all its old values die so that you can go over to something new and better. That's the sacrifice that true progress demands. Nietzsche gives us this incredible metaphor for the journey. He calls it the three metamorphoses. First, your spirit has to be like a camel, kneeling down and taking on the heaviest burdens, learning everything, carrying all of tradition. Then, in the lonely desert, that camel becomes a lion, and the lion's job is to say no, to destroy the old values and win its own freedom. And finally, the lion becomes a child, a symbol of a new beginning, of innocence, and of a pure, joyful yes to life, the spirit of a true creator. And this brings us right to Nietzsche's final challenge. See, he's not just telling a story about some ancient prophet. He's turning the camera right back around on us. He's pointing to the chaos, the conflict, and the incredible potential that exists inside every single one of us. And he's asking the ultimate question. Are you going to settle for being the last man? Or are you going to use that chaos inside of you to give birth to a dancing star?